right, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to TrainWorld Live, TrainWorld TV. And tonight we have a very special episode, the biggest episode for Atlas, the big O scale catalog premiere. This is a huge event because Atlas is doing something and trying to come out with a routine that I believe everybody out there will be happy about, excited about. And if you tuned in this past day or day and a half of announcements, you've seen some huge announcements, big splashes in the industry, O-scale industry. And Atlas is definitely making its move in O-scale. Now, today around the horn, I'll introduce everyone real quickly. We have Drew from Atlas. How you doing, Drew? If you want to introduce yourself and say hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm Drew, sales manager with Atlas. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about the Premier catalog, the winter edition. Got a lot of really cool items in it.
Now, for this winter edition, Drew actually brought in a tree with Christmas lights, so he's ready to go. And right underneath is Chris from RPP Trains on YouTube. How you doing, Chris?
Doing great. Good evening, everyone. And yes, I should have put my Christmas tree back out, but it's okay. I got Jack back there. It's all right.
All right. And last but not least, the man who does not need any introductions because you see him all over the place, Tony Cook from Model Railroad News. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing good, Ken. How you doing?
All right. Just putting a little shameless plug in for you.
There you go. I appreciate that. I've had more emails in the last couple of weeks over our charity race recently, how much fun that was Saturday. So that's awesome. Awesome to hear good feedback on that. That was a lot of fun.
That's great. And thank you both, Tony and Chris, for joining us tonight because they're excited. They want to put in some input. And I know a lot of people out there are jumping from joy. We see North Carolina watching from California. JC Train says, Chris, local, Belmore, Long Island. Hey, how you doing, Rich? Everybody's saying hello to RBP Trains. How you doing? California in the house. Hello, Drew. A lot of people. Evening, gentlemen. So a lot of people out there all around the world, Michigan. So we have a lot of people tuning in for this special episode. So we're excited. And we'll start off with, I guess, Drew, the man of the hour. We want to, I guess, have you kick it off because you made this big announcement and you were kind enough to come on the air and share this all. So what do you have for us today, Drew? You're on mute.
There we go. Okay. We have a really big catalog. A lot of things that when we announced the acquisition, there was a lot of these things were asked, hey, when are you guys going to do this? Well, the answer is now. Another big question we got a lot was, hey, I'm a two-railer. There's a lot of Premier stuff I'd like to see in two-rail. That's happening in this catalog. You'll see almost everything will be available in two-rail as well as three-rail. So, yeah, I guess we could just kind of jump into the catalog. If you guys are ready.
We're ready.
All right. So first thing I got here are the Premier snow plows. These come in 6 road numbers: Canadian National, Maine Central, Milwaukee Road, New York Central, Union Pacific, and Rio Grande. There's 2 road numbers per paint scheme. These are all brand new schemes. MTH never did any of these. With the Premier snowplow. So really excited to bring all of these to the market.
Yeah, those are pretty nice. What do you think about that, Chris and Tony?
That's I think that's maybe a Russell snowplow prototype. And due to the wings on the side there, fold out on that, I believe.
I'm not 100% sure. But I believe this is a Canadian version of the Russell snowplow. I don't know if it's exactly the same one. I know we do the Russell snowplow in N. and it's just a little bit different than that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to order one of these, Drew, and then dump a bunch of prototypical snow on the layout and barrel it. We're going to test it, see how well it does.
The snow is not included.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that, but hey. and this is the only offering in the whole catalog. And this is the only one that's only available in 3-rail. Couldn't make the coupler work, but everything else we'll be talking about is available in 2-rail. So the next group I have is the crane and tender. So we have 6 road names for the crane and the tender. They are sold separately, and you can see they're paired up there on the screen. Clinchfield, Nickel Plate Road, Kansas City Southern,
very cool,
Western Pacific, Santa Fe, and then Rio Grande.
A lot of options,
Very
a lot
nice.
of different paint schemes.
Yep, trying to cover both sides of the country, and can't forget the guys in the middle, Kansas City Southern, and so forth.
And this will be a first time 2-rail on these. I assume these were MTH only did 3-rail, right?
Yep, and these will both be available in 2-rail. And all like the snowplows, all of these paint schemes are new.
Now, Drew, you Atlas has been doing 2-rail for a while now, correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, most of our master and trainman items come in 2-rail variations.
Interesting.
With scale trucks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people out there may have to be careful ordering, that you don't order the wrong car. If you have 3-rail, which is the most common, and Chris, I believe you have 3-rail. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, and I have fallen into that before, so yes.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll all be labeled and such, but do pay attention. Otherwise, you might have the wrong. You might be waiting a little extra while you send the other one back.
Yeah, so make sure when people are ordering all these new items, you make sure it's either 3-rail, or if you want the 2-rail, just make sure you know which item number you're looking at.
Yep.
It's great that you're offering both variations. That was a big question that a lot of people have been asking about, if you were going to kind of continue that 3-rail, 2-rail. So I'm glad to hear it. I actually, disclosure, I didn't look at your catalog yet because I wanted to watch it live here. And I'm just I almost fell off my stool with these cranes. I'm like, now I got to order one of these. This is
They are awesome. Yeah, it's fun.
That
fun
Rio,
thing.
the Western Pacific in the blue looks really, really sharp. So,
yeah, I got to take a moment on each one of these pages to take it all in. This is great stuff, Drew.
Moving along, we have the Premier Scale test cars.
Cool.
Again, 6 new schemes. Norfolk Southern, New York Central, Jersey Central, CSX, Chicago and Northwestern, and Burlington Northern. Once again, these are all first time being offered in these paint schemes.
I like that Burlington Northern. That yellow and green really pops out.
Yes, it does. And a lot of these cars lasted a really long time. Like the New York Central car probably survived all the way through to NS or CSX.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony, I know you're a history buff. Do you know the history on these test cars, or
for a long time I thought a scale test, that it meant it's testing the scale of the track, and it's like, well, I don't get that. What would and this is when I was a little kid, like, it's a scale test car, I guess, to make sure the rails are the right, and it's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. That if you look between the axles there, that kind of round hatch, they can put weights in there, and I think it's used for, like, you go to grain elevators and such that would be weighing cars, and this basically verifies that it's like, well, yeah, that's a grain car, and we think it's got 100 tons worth of grain in it, and that's what the scale says, but like, what is our thing that checks that? And you put weights inside that car, it's taken, and then it can measure those. A lot of that is done as things leave, like staging yards when they're setting up freight trains. There again, they can set up, and there's weights there, a section of track that they go over. I did a review a couple years ago on one of them and kind of talked about the history of them, because again, it's something that scale test car, you don't immediately, it's like, what does that mean? whereas like a stock car, it's like, yeah, it carries like, pigs and cows, but like, okay, what's a scale test car do? And so they are an interesting piece. And again, it would be something you'd have in your yard, and it would check and verify, as I say, like grain elevators, or just at the end of your freight yard as trains are going out, that it, weighs the cars to make sure what they are weight wise, that it verifies that your measuring stuff is up to snuff. So an interesting piece of equipment.
Well, there you
Are
go.
you going to put a prototypical scale on it so it measures my cars?
I don't think so. I don't think these will be weighed prototypically, but
that's all right.
Sony's the walking encyclopedia of knowledge, train knowledge.
I learn something every time the man's on the phone. Yeah.
So the next item in the list here, we have the Premier 3-bay center flow covered hoppers. I got 4 road names listed here: Chicago Northwestern, Grand Trunk Western, Missouri Pacific, and Vermont Railway.
Wow, very cool.
There's 2 road names per SKU on these 4. And then we also have BNSF and Union Pacific available as singles and as 4-packs.
Oh, I love the packs.
Yeah, a lot of these cars are kind of found in unit trains, so you have up to 6 different road numbers in BNSF and Union Pacific.
Now, Chris, you're saying you love the packs. I'm interested to hear that, because a lot of times the price gets up there on the multi packs, but I'm glad you said that, because it does. I mean, these are really sharp looking, so I think a lot of people are going to grab the 4-packs on these.
Yeah, and it's a good way to make a longer train right out of the gate, and you do save a couple bucks per car. When I was first starting on my Premier collecting, that's what I was doing, was getting the car packs, because it was just a better value, and I was building up these longer trains. So I'm just really happy to see you doing that, Drew, because that's usually what I spring for.
Yeah, and Drew, is this center flow, like Chris and I, we just reviewed your, I think, Trinity, was it a 5161? That's Atlas tooling, but this is, I think, an older ACF prototype, similar to the center flow you have in your O line, but this is a different model, correct?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different than the master line one. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and Drew, I'm looking at the descriptions on these. They actually look like long cars, but it does say 031 curves, so that's pretty neat. Chris, I'm not sure what rail you run on, but 031, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag for me. Everything from 72 down to 36 on my elevated lines. So
you covered it all.
I always talk about versatility with freight cars. I'm always happy with a freight car that's a little bit shorter. My buddy Jason might argue with me. He loves his long auto racks, but it's all good.
And a lot of people are asking if they're in stock or ready to be ordered. Atlas just announced these yesterday, so we're taking pre-orders on them. They are Atlas does not have them in stock. I'm not sure when they will be shipping, but it does say the order deadline is January 19th. So make sure you get your orders in by that time to ensure you guarantee one.
Yep. To make sure you have one guaranteed is January 19th. ETA on these, it's hard to pinpoint with the way the world is right now. Probably second quarter of next year on a lot of these items.
And Drew, what about the trucks on your freight cars?
What about them?
Do you know if they're die cast or?
They would be the same as the MTH trucks.
Got it.
On
the die cast. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Moving along, we have the Premier 55-foot all-door box cars. These are pretty cool. They were kind of the transition from box car to the center being flat cars that you see a lot of wood being moved around today. So we have 6 different paint schemes there. A lot of lumber companies: Triangle Pacific, Simpson Timber, Masonite Corporation. Then you have David J. Joseph, Champion International, and British Columbia. railway.
Those are really neat, intricate cars because of the 3 or 4 sliding doors. The 2 center would come up and slide out or go down in the, so you can get to, and as you say, they basically are a bulkhead with a roof and sides was kind of the concept, or the center beams and such followed. And you can kind of see the look from the end of it that if you took the doors and roof off, it would essentially be a center beam. But yeah, those are fun cars with the indented ends on them, and then all the door detail is an awesome looking piece.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I think Thrall made a lot of them, and a kind of a fun fact is they would call them Thrall door cars instead of all door box cars. Thrall door, and you can see that on the David J. Joseph.
Very cool.
Yeah, incredible.
And then to follow up, we have the Trainman C&O Coppola Cabooses in 6 road names there: Southern Pacific, Southern, Reading, Maine Central, Erie, Lackawanna, and Chesapeake in Ohio.
Yeah, I'm going to have to snag that C&O.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All of these will match a locomotive that we'll be talking about here shortly. And then the Erie, Lackawanna, and the Maine Central actually would go with the 44 tonners that we announced earlier in the year. So, little.
Oh, perfect.
Now, Drew, I see this one as a Trainman, and previous were Premier cars. So what exactly do you know the difference, or is this like your original line, the Trainman?
Yeah. So this is an Atlas Trainman car that came from Atlas, where the Premier stuff is the X Premier MTH tooling.
Got it.
And then before we talk about the locomotives, there's just a few layout accessories that will be available next year. You got the motorcycle riders, motorcycles for them to ride, the traffic signals, road signs, so forth, the crossover walks for both single track and double track main lines.
Bringing back the traffic signals.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's funny. My father and I were going over the catalog this morning, and he made a big statement on your layout accessories. He was like, "That's the best part of the catalog," and he goes, "Those motorcycle riders, everybody loves them." So I don't know. I hope he's right.
I think he is. Yeah.
All right. And so our first locomotive is the Masterline F7 AB. And now these come with TMCC, not DCS, not Protosound 3. These are the 3 rail are equipped with TMCC. And the 2 rail will actually have ESU sound. And so we have 4 road names. You'll see some of these that match the Cabooses, Southern Pacific and Reading here on the first page. There are 2 road numbers in for an A and a B, and then we also have 1 road number of an unpowered unit in both a B and an A unit. So a lot of variations on the F7 ABs.
Now, Drew, I'm curious with this TMCC. Is this kind of going to be a test, I guess, to see, if TMCC, if Protosound sells better than TMCC or vice versa, or will people be able to, I guess, change this to Proto 3, do you think? Or you'd have to ask maybe a technician on that?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, it's not like I'm an N-scale guy and HO guys. It's not like swapping out a decoder.
Right.
Unfortunately, to switch back between the 2. Yeah. So you have to change a few things of how of what's tooled and so forth. So I don't know if it's really a challenge or not. But
okay. It's interesting. Username 661 says TMCC will never die. So, and the retired veteran agrees. So there are some TMCC fans out there.
Yeah,
it.
Tony, do you hear much in the articles about TMCC? People still wanting articles on that?
On the different systems, there's so many different things when you get to O gauge, especially, that sometimes I have trouble sorting them all out and remembering the different, because the other scales kind of follow the DCC and that setup. So yeah, it's kind of a different ball game. The one thing, as Drew mentioned, saying he's an HO and an N scale guy. This was some of the first Atlas O stuff I remember buying when these came out. I think I bought Rio Grande and like GM&O years ago as displays because they do the unpowered. So if you're not an O scale person and you think, wow, it'd be cool to have like on my desk or fireplace mantle or something, a display piece, these unpowered models are a real deal because look at that, $239.95. And you can put together, like an AB set or an A unit. And again, that was buying those 2 rails, and the detail on them is just fantastic. That the unpowered is a great way to have a nice display piece without having spent all that money, because you don't need the mechanism in it anyway if you're not an O scale guy. So that's something to look for. Again, they're fun to have some of these bigger items, just as kind of a display in your house.
That's an interesting point, Tony. I didn't even realize that. I was just looking at the powered unit, but yeah, unpowered is at a reasonable price.
Yeah, that Chesapeake in Ohio would make a great
mantle.
Oh, yeah, I can think of the word. Decoration on a desk.
Between any of them, I mean, they're all great.
They're all great
stuff that I'm looking at. That's it's incredible.
And there's also undecked available in powered and unpowered 3-rail, 2-rail. So if you want to paint your own F7AB, you have.
I'm a terrible painter, but lots of people are very good at it. So yeah, by all means.
All right, and moving on to the premier locomotives, the F40PH. We have 3 paint schemes available: Amtrak Phase 3 and Phase 4. MBTA, Metro North, and New Jersey Transit.
Yeah, this is going to be really popular, Drew.
Yes.
I have a funny feeling, as Chris agrees.
This is the one thing that was spoiled for me, Drew. Everybody has been talking about these pieces and the ones that are coming up. Yes.
So
I'm curious, what paint scheme, Chris, do you think people are most excited? Because all of these are pretty popular. Tony, I would think all paint schemes are pretty popular and seen in HO and N scale as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have a great pool into each one, because even I can't figure out which one I want. I'll probably end up getting like 2 of these in 2 different road names, because these are just so neat. I think it's a lot of people will be in that boat. They're gonna be looking to get more than one if they can.
And then to match the F40PHs, we have the Master Horizon Comet cars. Now, these were originally announced in June of 2019, and production is about to start on those. So we have a little bit shorter window to add more to your order. So if you haven't gotten these on order yet, you have until the 10th to guarantee you get one to match those F40PHs in all of the schemes there: NJ Transit, Metro North, Amtrak Phase 3 and 4, and MBTA.
And these are a scale length car. These would be like what, 85, 89 foot, 85 feet, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at them.
Yeah.
With interiors, and I assume they're lighted too.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And so,
and on these cars, just a quick point: the engines maybe 1 radius, but these passenger cars, because they're so detailed and to scale and realistic, I believe they run on 042. So if you're out there looking at these beautiful cars, just be careful with the radiuses. I don't want people ordering by mistake, but they're really nice. And if you do order by mistake, bump up your layout. Do what Chris does. Have a layout for all 3. So
that's right.
Really nice cars. And
you're definitely gonna want some sweeping curves for those. Yeah, those are some. They're gonna look great though.
Yeah. And Drew, you have the pre-order deadline on these for 12/10. Do you want to maybe talk about that or?
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, these are about to go into production. These were previously announced. At the time, we didn't have the tooling for the F40PHs. So when we decided we wanted to do the F40PHs, we thought maybe, hey, we'd let people know that there's still a chance to get some of these on order before they go into production. So, like I said, you got a little over a week before we close these. And yeah, there's a lot of numbers here. Each number of the coaches. So there's an A and a B. There's 2 road names there. So 4 total coaches, and then 1 cab car in all the schemes. And I take that back. The Amtrak Phase 4 and New Jersey Transit have 6 total coaches.
And I will say these pictures are really nice. It seems like the pictures are actually of real photographs instead of line drawings, which actually makes a big difference. And I heard from a little birdie that you had a secret sauce kind of helping you guys out in the industry, and that's kind of been the rumor swirling around. So it seems like he's putting together a great catalog. And this seems like you guys may do this quarterly. The pictures are dynamite, and I think people are going to really, order because these pictures are really that nice.
Yeah. We have had some people working on the background in the background to make this catalog really pop with all of the artwork. It's not just line drawings are what they are, but you definitely get to see what it's going to look like with the they're called nifties.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
well, I'm all about the nifties, Drew. So yeah, keep them looking like this because as a collector, we're always getting pulled towards what looks real, or you can always tell when it's prototype or what have you. No, these are great.
Yeah, no, Andy from Prime Mover has done an excellent job with MTH and the Edelman, and now with helping out Atlas, just tremendous. And it really does look great. And I think people are going to really start to buy more. It looks real. You could see it. You could see it in your layout, Chris, right?
Well, that's exactly it. And now that you mentioned there's going to be 6 cars on the Amtrak phase, I'm going to have to probably get that one. So I think you settled it for me, Drew. So thank you for that. But yeah, no, these renderings are amazing. Your eye just gets drawn right into it.
Yeah.
There it is. The big one, the P42 Genesis and the Amfleet cars. The first one I have here is just your standard Phase 5. We got 2 road numbers for the locomotive, and then we have a single, which is 2 coaches, or a single of 2 numbers per coach, and then a 4-pack, which is 3 coaches and a cafe car.
Beautiful. And Tony, a while ago we did this big Amtrak event, and I tell you, this would have been a great announcement at the time.
We weren't ready. Sorry.
It's been a tremendous year for Amtrak. Yeah, as I page through this, I'm like, oh, good, more Amtrak, because there's you just keep getting asked, is this going to come out? Is this going to be available? So these will be, and I know Drew's got some anniversary ones we're going to look at here too, and those are very popular.
Oh yeah.
And here's the first one, the Phase 1, which with its accompanying Amfleet cars. The Amfleet cars are not real, unfortunately. Amtrak's not going to paint up cars like this. But we worked with them to make a design to match the anniversary P42s, and I think they're going to look really cool.
That's awesome.
It's a fun concept. It's until I turned the page and saw these today, it was like, wow, they're going to do anniversary cars. And yeah, I know they're not real, but it's like, that is a cool idea. And they do look good.
And like the prototypical ones, you have 2 road numbers of the single coaches, and then the 4-pack is 3 more coaches and a cafe car on all of these passenger cars.
I think everybody's going to go wild for these. When Tony was on the show for Amtrak event, the response and people wanting to just talk about Amtrak, it was huge. Quite honestly, I get people to this day, they say that Amtrak event was amazing. It was unbelievable. It was the best event in model trains. It really was fantastic. And the excitement of Amtrak was there. You know, people love the new paint schemes, the model train industry kind of going with it and taking it to the next level. And I think people are going to really love these P42s once they come out. So I'm pretty excited about these. I think it's the home run of the whole new catalog that you have going on here.
Yeah, we're really excited about them too. And just to note, I saw somebody ask in the comments, the 2-rail and 3-rail on the Premier ITS Prototype 3, available in both 2 and 3-rail.
Got it.
Moving along, we have the Phase 3, another sharp-looking scheme.
Very cool.
Do you know, between the 2-rail and the 3-rail, you know, these are kind of illustrations. Do you know how the coupler setups will be? Like this one, you can see the front pilot is connected to the coupler. This is obviously a 3-rail model. Will the 2-rail be any different tooling? Do you know at this point how that'll work, or will it?
I don't know right now. I think that's something we have to figure out. That and making sure we can light the cars in 2-rail. So.
And I
think this scheme that was on the GEs of about 1990, a lot of guys call that Pepsi can or whatever, has been the one that everybody talks about. I don't know why this was such a wildly liked scheme. And, you know, Matt Donnelly, when we had that program from Amtrak, talked about the guy that did the design of it. But with this new P42 getting this scheme, I've seen more feedback on that. In fact, we've got a picture of that in the new diesel era that somebody sent me of it, like on the Capital Limited in Indiana or something. And this really seems to be one of the standouts of the bunch. And it looks really great on this, as it did on those GE, I think they were P42B somethings. Yeah, it's a neat scheme.
Absolutely, Tony. And just so everyone knows, the engines are 031. Passenger cars are 042, so just be careful when you're ordering. If you don't have 042s, I'd recommend bumping them up.
Exactly.
Because what's an engine if you can't pull the passenger cars, right, Drew?
No kidding. Exactly. Next up, we have the Phase 5 50th anniversary locomotive and the matching passenger cars.
I think this wasn't that that was the first one with the 50th that it was out. You know, they put this on an existing paint scheme, as I recall, or something. That this is one of the first ones we saw with the 50th logo on it.
Very cool.
We have the Phase 6 P42 and Amfleet cars in the blue.
Yeah, this is by far the hottest paint scheme. I don't know what you're hearing out there, Tony, on the other scales in HO and N scale, but this paint scheme is just so dynamic.
It really is, and I think this is what Drew said. They're calling it Phase 6. This is what the new production Simmons Mobility Chargers will get, this paint scheme with this kind of red above the front part of the nose and back. It is a fantastic looking paint. And again, wow, the cars, there's this one, and then you've got the other blue as well. But boy, those cars look amazing. The Bud Amfleet cars painted in a solid color like that is really awesome.
Yeah, this one in the midnight blue.
Yeah, I think this is the one. Yeah, it's probably between the midnight blue and then and then the one we just saw for me. Although I like the first one too. I don't know. There's too many of these. You're killing me, Drew.
Look at all of them.
I
full collection.
All in. This is bad.
Well, I think the blue and the different colors kind of just create something different. It's not the basic,
Right.
train. This is something spectacular. This is, if you're collecting trains on and off, this is the train you got to get this year. So really neat.
No, it absolutely is. And I think, having that variety of schemes, I think you're going to have a lot of different pieces and a lot of different collections, which I think is one of the more fun things, especially when you're coming out with some of these creative schemes across the line, right? So I've been on an Amtrak kick lately. So it's just ironic that this was your catalog.
It's funny. Actually, Rich had a great comment. Buy one of each. It's only money.
Rich is hired.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's the new sales director at Atlas.
I agree. When it comes to collecting trains, it's like, don't miss the opportunity. I can always make more money sometime, but boy, these trains will come and go. And I think, man, I wish I'd have bought that.
Tony has one of each of everything.
And speaking of creative cars and collecting cars, we have the next PS1 in our holiday car line. I'm sure you've seen the Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween cars. This one, we haven't formally announced it yet. It'll be announced later this month.
Wow.
And it is a really sharp looking car to go along with the St. Patrick's car and the other three we announced in the fall.
Yeah.
Drew, do you see some of these going to other scales? Why I'm thinking that HO got some of the Halloween or other cars, unless I'm confused. Are you doing more scales than one for these? It is?
Yeah, so the Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas cars were all available in HO&N as well. I should be getting the HO&N Christmas cars here in the next few days, I'm hoping. Hopefully by the end of the week. This car will be available in HO as well. Or excuse me, yeah, but not as a PS1. It'll be on a different boxcar.
Yeah, these are just so refreshing. I think each manufacturer always has sort of their holiday cars, and you can always tell who makes what. And this just is unique. I think I know my brother ordered one of the Halloween cars, and I'm ordering your Christmas cars. I just think they're so interesting. I'm really glad that you did them and you made them your own like that. Yeah, like this one here.
Yeah, this is wild. This is Christmas. We actually have this on our store layout, and these actually light up. The graphics are really cool, young, hip, really neat. And that's the Christmas one. But the lights really make it spectacular, and people are really going crazy over them. That's the St. Patrick's. Really neat. Again, it's going to have with the lights. And Halloween, I tell you, these graphics are really neat.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a whole train just out of these graffiti-looking cars, and they're just it'll be one of the coolest looking trains. Like I know we do our holiday, we do a public layout, here near where I live, and I'm trying to collect as many of these as I can for next year when we do it. Because I mean, that's all the kids are going to want to see are these cool looking cars. Everyone's going to love that the best.
Yeah, and anything with lights sells like crazy.
Yes.
So if you haven't gotten your order in, definitely order it as soon as possible, because once people start seeing videos and seeing these on, either Chris's layout or seeing a review by Tony detailing what it actually does, that's when people go nuts and you won't be able to find it. So these are really neat. It's hard to tell that they'll light up, but they look spectacular.
And that wraps up the PowerPoint. I did want to mention a few items that we just received in or are about to receive in O scale. These are the Master 53-foot 6-inch Wood Express reefers. We have a batch of those that have arrived, and another batch that should be arriving soon.
Oh boy.
Oh.
And that was it. But we knew the reefers were coming.
I'll bet you the Christmas tree is plugged into the USB port, and that's what did Drew in.
That's what it was. I was trying to be
That's
festive,
funny.
and it came back to bite him. But we made it through the Amtrak section, which is really what I know everyone wanted to see.
The cars I'm trying to track down now, and I bought a couple from you this weekend, Ken. I was over there. I told you I was showing Dad your new website, and he was saying how good it was. And I bought. I'm trying to track down those Atlas, the beer cars.
Oh, yes.
And they come in a bunch of scales. I was buying, I think I got 2 of them that you had in stock, but I couldn't decide or find the others. I'd requested them from Atlas, but I figured, man, these are going to be hot. They're going to sell out. I probably won't get samples for the magazine. I better be sure and start buying. And I got 2 from you, but I don't know if they're all out yet or not.
Yeah. So anything with Atlas, they have these pre-order windows. And they're very strict to what the number is. So MTH was a different story, and it's good we're talking about this. And good point you brought up, Tony, because a lot of people are maybe familiar with MTH or Lionel. How sometimes you could usually go back to the well, or maybe wait till they come out to see a review from your favorite YouTube channel, and see it on the rails, and then you'll buy it. But with the Atlas, they kind of stay close to the numbers, tight to the vest. So like on these beer cars, it takes a while to get there, but the pre-order window was, I'm not sure exactly the date, but it was a little while ago. So we always try to buy extras, but sometimes it comes to a point where you could only, it just runs up and you got to shut off that spigot, and, you sell out. So email me the numbers. I'll see what I could do. But those beer cars are going to be very, very hot. I think those are real unique, different.
And I thought I had ordered them. In fact, when I was going through the orders, I'm thinking, boy, I thought I did, because there were these, and there were tank cars, there were trailers. Drew, we're talking about that new group of the beer cars.
Oh,
okay.
That are out, and I started looking, and I couldn't find the order, and I was surprised that they showed a couple in stock when we were just looking at the TrainWorld site. And so I ordered, I can't remember the 2 that I got. I don't remember now. I know I didn't get Pabst or Schlitz. I got a couple from Ken Jr. Saturday off the website, but was looking to see, are all those out yet? Have you seen those, Drew? Are they coming in slowly, or
and what scale, Tony? Because
I think they're in. I was buying HO. I'm buying the Train Man, the little 40-foot plug doors, but I think they come in multiple scales. And I got to double check on the tank cars too, because I thought I'd order those, but I might not have.
The plug doors, I think we only got a few. I think the rest of them are about to arrive with the Christmas car as well. So that container should be here anytime. But I think a lot of those are going to show up here shortly.
Yeah, because y'all did a natty bow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a Baltimore guy,
So always remember to plug your charger into the wall. We had it plugged into the computer and
sucked your power out there, Drew. That's what we were thinking.
It didn't give me much time.
No, that was
that warning, and I went to plug it in, and it was off. I was like, okay.
I thought it was your Christmas tree, Drew. When you disappeared, I said, oh, I bet he had the Christmas tree plugged into the USB and killed it. But I see on Ken's site the pre-orders up for the N-scale beer tank cars. I see those still, Ken, but I'm looking for that box car now.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of them because it showed they shipped.
All the beer stuff, and I feel bad for Drew, because I send him like 200 products at a time and tell him I want it all. so usually after Drew, I email every single distributor and person that's selling them, and I wipe everyone out. And on these cars, I'm telling you, anything beer, it was like so hot. I had to grab them from everyone I could. So you really, Tony, you got to ask for a big favor. I'll see what I could do.
I'll send you. I got two of them from you. So I'll send you the list of the others I'm looking for. And I always do order that stuff. I kept digging through my pre-orders, thinking, how did I not do that? But
Yeah,
you're lucky you know someone.
we have the tank cars in, and also. So I had a few other things that I wanted to mention. We did get some of the PS1 Premier cars, including the Christmas cars, but also L&N, the NYC Pacemaker. It's a really sharp-looking car. Seaboard, Union Pacific, Rock Island. And the two-bay offset hoppers as well. Those should be arriving soon.
But you see how everything is mostly sold out. So everybody, make sure you get your pre-orders in. It's really important for the dealers and the Atlas. On this new catalog that was shown tonight, just a reminder, 1/19/2022 is the pre-order deadline. And Drew, you guys are kind of doing something new, because usually it's a month catalog, but this is kind of going to be bi-monthly now or quarterly?
We haven't figured out how often they're going to come out, but we kind of decided to split O into its own catalog, and it's going to be, quarterly, bi-monthly. We'll see how 2022 kind of shapes up, and then we'll have the model stuff, the N and HO. Those will be separated into their own catalog. So you saw the fall catalog was just N and HO, the winter catalog just O. We'll have another catalog probably near the end of January. That'll be N and HO, and then so on and so forth. So probably alternate back and forth is kind of the goal.
Tony, how are you going to keep up with all these items?
That's what I'm thinking. That's a lot of product to manage. Wow.
I know. Yeah, every time I go to press, it's like, boy, I could use about another 25 pages on top of the 100 pages just to try to cover the news. There's so much stuff. That is going to be big, Drew. This center cab switcher. I'm so looking forward to this.
Yep, the 44 tonners are close. They should be arriving here in the next few weeks.
So are those your Proto 3?
Yes. Yeah, those are Premier.
Yep.
Yeah, and Tony, it's funny. You mentioned you need more to go to press, and you need to clone yourself. And I will say your magazine is so thick now. It's like it's kind of like you get a Bible each month now, because it's so much product and information. You're doing a great job.
There's so much neat stuff. That's the fun of it, yeah.
And then also on that container is these 1923 X29 steel boxes.
Oh, nice.
Which will also be arriving soon.
And Drew, we're gonna put you on the hot seat right now. So I'm glad you rejoined us. Let's talk about track. What's going on?
A lot. We're trying. There's a lot of holes right now that we're trying to get filled. I have about 5 or so different shipments that I'm still waiting to get in that are on the water at some point between, our factories and, our warehouse in New Jersey. So dealing with all of that has been not fun. But we're working on it. We're still going to provide all the 2-rail and 3-rail track that we always have.
The track thing, and we had that some years ago, Drew, and it's been a lot better in the last few years. And I guess just the current situation has caused a bit of a slowdown there. But yeah, I had at least 1 or 2 last week of people saying, "So is there something going on with track?" I said, "Oh, not again." I said, "No, I think it's just the same as everything, that there's just shipment problems."
Yeah, and to be honest, with COVID and people staying home, the industry kind of took off. Yeah. And so usually there's kind of a lull in the summer where everybody's going outside and going and doing things. Well, they stayed home and they continued to work on their layout. So we didn't have that recovery period that we're usually, we're accustomed to.
Yeah, I watched a lot
of great thing.
Track sell at York. I mean, people were looking for Atlas 3-rail track everywhere. So
was it you or was it Jason that found those turnouts in the one video? There's one of you guys was thrilled that you had some network turnouts that you found.
Oh yeah, he was like a kid at the candy store when he found those. So.
It's amazing that track. You think it's like being rationed like water now. It's amazing. People are calling up and they're getting upset, and I feel bad. It's like, but how can you not have this? I go, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know either. Right now, it's a crazy time. I was telling Drew before, even starter sets, we have never had as much of a low inventory right now for starter sets, and this is before Christmas. This is not even after Christmas.
Right.
So the supply chain is we're still really backed up. Atlas, they have a bunch of containers on the water, and it's taking a long time to get here. And it's not just Atlas, it's the whole industry, and it's all different industries, and you hear it all the time. And we think the model train sector is untouchable sometimes, but it has been affected, unfortunately. So hopefully we could get back on track and right on track with Atlas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, this was fun. This was a lot.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Great
It's
stuff.
A lot for me to unpack here. I gotta go talk to my wife about what I'm allowed to buy.
Well, you have until January 19th to figure everything out. Maybe, and except on the Horizon comic cars, those you only have a week. So if you haven't got any of those on order yet, better prioritize that one. Yeah.
All right. So I'll let you guys go around the horn. You could say your final thoughts, but we'll start with Chris.
So I'm really glad to see all the activity, Drew. I'm looking forward to these more frequent cadences from you all. I think it's healthy competition out there. Everybody's really been talking a lot about what Atlas is going to be doing, and to see it now and see the effort that's going into the catalogs and the quality of what's going to be coming out, it's really exciting. And I know that out of this one, I mean, I'll be getting pieces from it, and I think you're really going to start pushing the envelope. A lot of people are excited about this. So a number of social media channels today were really blowing up about a lot of the Amtrak announcements, but even about the broader catalog itself. You're doing the right things. So thank you for that.
Very good. And Tony, last minute thoughts.
The 2-rail, I'm thrilled to see the 2-rail is factoring into that, Drew, because that is something that when you guys picked up a lot of that MTH tooling, because Atlas has always been, I mean, back to when you had the line of O in the early 1970s, it was 2-rail when nobody did 2-rail. So, and there is that hardcore group of guys that likes to do scale 2-rail. So that was one of the things I heard a number of times is, oh, I hope that doesn't get shortchanged. And this catalog proves that you're taking some of that MTH stuff and making 2-rail versions out of it. So that's a nice, okay, yeah, no panic on 2-rail is being left behind. That it's fun to see that come in both directions, and we'll follow the progress on what you're doing to kind of retool or modify some of that. But that was awesome to see.
Yeah, I'm excited for all this stuff. I can't wait to get some of that Premier stuff, the 44 tonners and the heavyweight Madison passenger cars. Those are going to be showing up here soon as well. I think they're on the container with the 44 tonners. So getting some of that stuff in stock and being able to see it, even though the nifties are really cool, nothing beats the actual physical product. So I can't wait to get all that stuff out and onto the market.
That's awesome. Well, thank everyone for joining us tonight. This was actually a real well-attended event tonight. A lot of excitement on these new announcements. I want to thank Chris. Thank you very much for joining us. Your YouTube channel is always outstanding and exciting on the industry. Tony Cook, Model Railroad News, your magazine is up here. It's the creme de la creme, cream of the crop. So we appreciate all the hard work you put in, and I'm sure tons of these Atlas items will be kind of rolling out in the future in reviews. So I'm sure Tony's excited to get his, I guess, dip his toe in the water to see what the new announcements are, so he could kind of look at the drawing board and see what he could line up. And Drew, thank you very much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it. Your Christmas tree made it even more spectacular and made it really feel like a holiday event. Chris still has his Halloween decorations going on in the background. So we appreciate you making a Christmas episode. And all these Atlas products, we're taking pre-orders now. We've mentioned the pre-order deadlines a couple of times. The passenger cars are a little shorter deadline, so that's coming up quickly. The rest of the items were 1/19/2022. Please get your pre-orders in because they will sell out. The P42, the cars that match with it, the F40s are going to be huge blockbuster announcements. Orders are going to be flowing in. Flowing like wine. They'll be coming in, so make sure you get a sip of it. And thank you very much to everyone for joining. Happy holidays. Thanks for joining. Have a great night. And if I don't see anyone, just happy holidays to everyone.
Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.